What? We are here at Lucas Oil Stadium where they are eating deep into the night. Glad you're with us. Joe Tessitore alongside Peter Rosenberg and Big E. And this crowd has made its way here to the concourse. And Jey Uso is the talk of the town, coming up big, winning the men's Royal Rumble. And tonight's Royal Rumble post show is brought to you by Metrics. Big 100 protein bars. Always keep it 100. This is the aftermath here at Lucas Oil Stadium. An all-time classic in the Royal Rumble. Big E, I will start with you. Your first reaction.
Yeah, Joe, man, I got emotional. I am still emotional. I've known Jey Uso for 15 years. I've said it before. I picked this man up 15 years ago when he didn't have a car. I remember when we were broke doing this. The Usos were our greatest tag team rivals. 5 months going straight. To see him go from all those struggles to this point, to winning the Royal Rumble, you don't know. That is my brother. That is someone I love. I am so immensely proud of Jey to see his climb. You don't know, in the tag team, you're so often told you belong here. Your ceiling is here. But to see him break through that glass ceiling and get that rightful spot for the Royal, are you kidding me? Jey Uso is the winner of the men's Royal Rumble match. That's crazy. And I love it. I love it for him.
Peter, we'll hear from you in just a moment, but we just got word that Jackie Redmond is with Jey Uso.
Jey Uso, my guy, congratulations. Main event, Jey Uso is going to the main event of WrestleMania. How good does it feel to hear those words?
My turn. Yee, Jackie, yo. Yee. Uso, me, Us. Day one, it's just me, Us. It's going to be a party tonight. It's going to be a party tonight, Us. It's my turn. It's my turn, Jackie.
Jey, I got no doubt that there is going to be a party tonight. Your son is here once again. You are on a hell of a run the last 12 months in WWE. And listen, I just heard Big E singing your praises. He was talking about how it's so common in this business that when you're successful in the tag team division, nobody sees you breaking out of that. You have done exactly that over the last year, and you did it just like your song says. It's just you, Us. It's just you going to the main event of WrestleMania. How proud are you of this achievement?
Hey, Big E, I love you over there too, dog. And you damn right. We from the tag division. They ain't never see us coming. They ain't never see me coming. But guess what? I just won the damn Royal Rumble 2025. I bet y'all ain't see that. Hey, I bet y'all ain't see that coming. Hey, that's another thing you gonna see coming though, Us, is that me main event WrestleMania and becoming the new world heavyweight champion. And I'm telling you right now, Us, 4 letters, 1 word. Yeet! Come on, man.
Congratulations once again to Jey Uso. The party has already started. Tess, I'm going to send it back to you.
And he's celebrating
Congrats,
side
Jey.
by side with his son. Great job, Jackie Redmond. Peter, there is an authenticity to the emotion of Jey Uso that is irresistible to the fans.
100%, and that is why when people ask us, why are you a wrestling fan? It's moments like this, it's people like Jey Uso. We get to see people become superstars and realize their dreams. We all collectively, as the WWE Universe, have experienced this with Jey Uso. It is incredible, and I'm gonna put this out here right now. You could talk 92, you could talk 2001, you could talk 1990. Tonight, we had something that is in the conversation for the greatest Royal Rumble match of all time.
Listen, and that is not recency bias and what we're just coming off in the energy. It was that good. As you see the winners tonight, the results from this Royal Rumble, listen, we had other classic moments, a ladder match that took our breath away, and the women's winner of the Royal Rumble, she is back. Charlotte Flair returned. She looks sensational. The rehab, the recovery, as good as ever. We're just moments away from Charlotte Flair, but Big E, one quick comment on what you saw there.
Man, let's get a lot of love to Charlotte. I have torn my ACLs. Coming back from something like that, to go back to the very top where she belongs, I am so proud of her. She is someone who is driven. She is ambitious. She is not ready to be someone who puts over the young girls. No, she wants to be at the top, and she earned that right tonight.
You see that moment there, too, by the way. we got to talk about Roxanne and the night that she had.
Yeah.
That you talk about a coming out party.
Roxanne Perez, the runner-up, who
Roxanne
went the
Perez,
distance.
What a monster night for her as well. Nia Jax, very impressive, but in the end, the queen is back and doing what she does, main eventing at WrestleMania.
Yeah, Roxanne Perez was there at the end. Nia Jax there at the end. But standing tall and pointing to that WrestleMania sign was Charlotte Flair. And I'll tell you, the air changes in the stadium when Charlotte Flair enters, as we will go to the press conference and hear from the Women's Royal Rumble winner, Charlotte Flair.
The floor is now open for the 14-time returning world champion Charlotte Flair. Congratulations on winning the 2025 Women's Royal Rumble. We now open up the floor to questions, and we start off in the front row.
Thank you, Saxton.
Sure, congratulations, Charlotte. You look lovely. I wanted to, of course, ask you how it felt to win the Rumble, but on top of that, your recovery coming from a torn ACL, having gone through the highs and low of that, both physically and mentally, to make it back and win the Rumble.
Oh, that's a loaded question. I really don't want to break down. So this was the longest I've been away from you guys and the fans since I started in 2012. And I got into this business because of my little brother. And when my knee injury happened in December and it took me out, I just kept thinking, like, I can't go out this way. And then it made me realize how far I've come, and I was doing it because of him. And then seeing all the fans keeping up with all of my injury updates throughout the year with rehab, and like, we miss you, Charlotte, we love you, Charlotte. And like, as a performer, sometimes you do feel like, do I still got it? You know, what am I coming back to do? I've done it all. And coming back tonight and winning the Rumble 2 times, it's like, no, I'm coming back to do it all over again. That's how hungry I am. And little secret, when I came out tonight, you guys, I couldn't get my robe off. I was like, good thing I remembered how to wrestle, because like, I can't get this robe off. It had been so long. So it felt great. Thank you.
Pluggo with Love Wrestling. Congratulations on becoming the first 2-time Women's Royal Rumble winner. Did you want to rip that robe off first of all when you were in that moment?
I had to rip it off. I had to rip the buckle off.
And then how did it feel to get the opportunity to become the first 2-time Royal Rumble winner on the women's side in such a hungry Women's Royal Rumble this year? NXT showed out, legends were there, you're coming off of recovery, and then you come out on top. How did that make you feel?
I feel as if there was a woman to win the Rumble 2 times to be the first, it would have been myself. Okay, I'll have a nice answer too. Seeing how far NXT has come and being in there with all the new girls, from Stephanie to Roxanne to everyone else, like seeing how excited they were, seeing how hungry they were, and remembering being where they were at that time, it really made me realize how much the industry has changed and how big NXT has become. So I hope having the opportunity to face them, but I really think any of those girls could have been in my spot tonight. That's how good they are. I just happened to, be top girl.
Third row.
Charlotte, Grant Matthews with Bleacher Report. Just talking about your return, there's been a lot of rumblings about this new attitude that you're bringing back to WWE, the top girl attitude, embracing the Flair legacy.
Continue.
What is Charlotte Flair all about in 2025 compared to the last Charlotte
Everything.
Flair
I want it
6
all.
years ago?
I'm the history-making, groundbreaking, never scared, always prepared, self-made, and always paid, the woman of WWE. And I'm coming for my title at WrestleMania. I just haven't decided which one.
Next question. Right here.
Hi, Charlotte. Isa with Lucha Libre Online.
Hi, Mama.
You were missed.
Thank you.
The last time you won the Rumble, you went for the NXT World Championship. We have some new championships introduced in your time off. Is there any chance you're looking at those?
Oh, you're right. I guess you'll have to watch Monday, NXT, and SmackDown. You never know.
All right, I think that's our last question. One more.
You guys scared?
Thank you. Oh, sorry.
Really? I'm all smiles right now.
Hi, Steve Hall from 10 Count Media. Mentally, when you're preparing to come back, how emotional is it for you to realize, like, you've done everything, but when you return, like, mentally, are you able to think, when I step in the ring, will my legs just give out? Will I have an issue with that? Like, how do you feel when you step into the ring knowing you came back from a pretty serious injury?
Yeah. Did you see my bedazzled brace? Yeah, I was like, I can't go out in just a plain brace, you guys. I think the hardest part for me was I've always relied on my athleticism to carry me, and I've been an athlete my entire life, and I've never been injured, even though I know I hear you guys are like, oh, she's been, hit or miss for 2 years. You guys, I have been on the road since 2012 and have been a champion every single year for 9 years. I took 1 year off. Give me a break, okay? Because you're gonna get tired of me, because I'm coming for all the gold. For me, it was just like, what if I can't come back the Charlotte that everyone expects? And that really was hard on me. So to me, the rehab and getting back in the ring, was it like second guessing myself, okay, now I'm like scared to get injured because I've never been injured. And that was a hurdle that I had to overcome, because I'm like waiting for the shoe to drop, because that really did. The night that I got hurt with Asuka, there was like 8,000 soldiers in the audience. And when I first dinged my knee, I was like, well, I can't stop the match. These people give their lives for me, and they're here for a show. And I just kept going. And then I fell on the top rope on my neck. And then here, we come back live because I was in break. And then next thing you know, I hit Asuka with another move, and then I'm on my face. And I just kept thinking, like, what is going on? I can't give up for these fans. And then living with that for a year, going, oh my gosh, is that gonna happen to me again, was really hard. But coming out tonight and hearing my music and seeing the signs, and I just needed to get the first match under my belt. And here's the thing, I'm going to work smarter, not harder. Number 27 tonight.
Charlotte, thank you so much. Once again, congratulations on punching your ticket to the main event of WrestleMania.
Thank you, guys.
So that is Charlotte Flair. She's the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble. She says, I'm coming for all the gold. The question is, which gold will she be going for? A lot of people out there have been doing that fantasy booking for a long time with Tiffany Stratton. Which way you see it, E?
I love the Tiffany Stratton match, but man, the match with Rhea that she had at WrestleMania, the last time, match of the year, I'd love to see that again. Both options are really so great. I'd love to see both.
I think I lean Tiffy time. That match intrigues me.
It just feels right, doesn't it?
Well, they're both so dangerous from the turnbuckle. Like, don't you want to see them flying across the ring from each other? I think that would be a wonderful match to watch. I'll tell you what I really love about Charlotte. That was a different version of her at that podium than we've seen.
Yeah.
Like, there was another level to her confidence. Yes. I love self-made, always paid. Two very important points when it comes to Charlotte Flair. I'm excited for this Charlotte Flair season we're about to get.
Listen, if you've been following her recovery and rehab and the social media posts that she put forth, you know the level of work she's been putting in to reach this moment. It is wonderful to have her back for the first time since December of 2023. Real quick, we already gave credits to Roxanne for her runner-up position, the longest time now in Women's Royal Rumble history. Liv Morgan went deep. We had a great run by Nia Jax, eliminating 6 at a time. Alexa Bliss is back. What else caught your attention here?
Absolutely. Shout out to the women of NXT. The future is very, very bright. But it's also right here. It's present. You can watch them on CW. We're talking about Julia. We're talking about Stephanie. We're talking about Roxanne. So many incredible performances. The women's division in NXT is incredible. If you're not watching, you are missing out, I promise you.
And how about she just signed a deal, Jordan Grace, with a great
awesome.
appearance
Absolutely.
as well. And of course, shout out my girl, Nikki Bella is back.
Nikki Bella is
WWE.
Yeah. All right. Let's discuss now the ladder match. We're going to dig into this for a bit. Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens took it to a place that very few are capable of. Jackie Redmond has a report for us.
Tess, guys, thank you so much. Listen, we all saw how intense that ladder match between Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens was. We obviously could see that Kevin Owens was in rough shape after that match was complete. But I also have it on good authority that the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, is dealing with multiple injuries. I can't confirm the intensity or severity of those injuries, but what I can tell you is that they're bad enough that Cody will not be addressing the media in tonight's press conference. In fact, his in-ring status might even be up in the air as well. What I can confirm for you, Tess, is that Cody Rhodes will still attend Friday Night SmackDown this week in Memphis. But considering it is officially WrestleMania season, this could be devastating news if Cody Rhodes is unable to compete for any amount of time. Back to you.
Jackie, right on top of things. We appreciate that. It is not shocking news in watching that match to understand that Cody Rhodes has suffered injuries, is receiving medical observation, and to that point will not be able to join us in the press conference today. I'll go back, Big E, to that Fisherman's Buster off the top rope that went through the ladder, and that was one of at least 10 moments in the match where you had grave concern for Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, there's a term, Pyrrhic victory. This feels like a Pyrrhic victory, where he won the match, but was it worth it? Knowing what his body went through.
The Alabama slam through the ladder bridge was absolutely unbelievable to watch.
Guys, we've all watched, you've participated in, but we've all watched many matches like this, many great ladder matches. I saw things in that match I've never seen.
Yes.
The Alabama slam, we're obviously all talking about Cody and very concerned. I was also, as big a jerk as the guy is, I have to admit, concerned for Kevin Owens taking that Alabama slam right through the ladder.
Absolutely.
Just so much insane stuff. We were watching together, shocked the entire match.
No doubt about it. There was one point I turned to you. I said, this is not a match. This is not a ladder match. This is an all-out fight. There's a level of viciousness and violence that we're seeing. We will talk about that a little later on. But we want to get back to what took place with Jey Uso. From main event Jey Uso to now WrestleMania main event Jey Uso, as he is making his way to the press conference in what was an absolutely loaded field. Top heavy from start to finish. We saw superstars, including John Cena in the end. It's this man now taking to the press conference. Jey Uso is headed to the main event of WrestleMania.
We're now joined by the man who scored the upset win tonight in the Men's Royal Rumble, Jey Uso. The floor is open. We'll start with our first question in the front row.
Hi, Adam Bernard from Screen Rant. First, Jay, yeet, and congratulations.
Where you at, Us?
Right over here.
Yeet.
Hey, yeet. Thank you, sir. So this was arguably one of the most loaded and stacked Royal Rumbles in WWE history. What does that say about your position with the company winning this match with all of this talent?
Means a lot, Us. I think the company going forward with me, they trust me now. You know, and I'm not gonna let them down. There was some heavy hitters in there. I was a heavy hitter too. And like John says, you know, my time's now, man. My time is now. And I was screaming out that out there the whole night, man. It's my turn. It's my turn. And y'all gonna see it. Y'all gonna see it. I'm just gonna go up from here, man. This yeet train is just now getting started, Us. I'm telling you. Y'all let me rock, man. Let me keep cooking. Yeet.
Jay, right over here. Congratulations.
Thanks, Us.
We mentioned the big hitters. What did it mean to you to be able to go out there, final two, with John Cena in his final year of professional wrestling and share that moment with him?
Emotional. I'm in there face to face, the crowd going crazy. It is kind of crazy because I can't hear nobody but him, me and him in there. And before we start get the rocket, man, I'm happy for you, Us. Like, I enjoy the little real things that happen in there that slide through. I take it to heart, man. And I never would have thought it'd be, me and John Cena, Us, the final two. His ass almost got me twice in there, but I'm glad, though. I'm very glad it was John Cena.
Hey, Jay, Adrian Hernandez of Unlikely right over here. What up, Jay?
Yeah, what up,
we
Us?
spoke a month ago, and you told me about how you got it out the mud. You are now going from a WrestleMania pre-show match in a tag team to now main eventing by yourself. How does that feel?
It feels great. I'm the definition of real hard work. I ain't never complained. Just went to work every day. I said it out there like I'm like a tag team guy. Ain't nobody see me coming. No one saw this coming. I just stick to the code, man. Love what I do, respect the locker room, and it'll all come back to you 10 times fold. And that's what happened tonight, And I felt love. I felt energy, man. I really feel love when the WWE Universe looks at me. They see, man, I'm gonna root for this dude. Even if you've never watched our product before, I just want to bring out like positivity, energy, man, especially for the kids. And it's all working, man. So I'ma still come out the mud, even though I got it now. So I still same mentality. I'm about to take it, I'm about to take it over. I'm about to take over. Yeah.
Final question.
Hey, Jay. Right here.
Yeah.
Joel Torres from Contralona. You just won the Rumble. Congrats.
Thanks.
Last week, you couldn't defeat Gunther on Saturday night's main event, but now you have the opportunity to face either Gunther for the world title or either the undisputed champion, Cody Rhodes, your friend. Have you thought about what title are you going to challenge at WrestleMania?
Man, you know what? I was screaming like, when I win the Royal Rumble 2025 Royal Rumble, I was screaming Gunther. But once you really like when it's in concrete right now, and it's after the Rumble, and I really want it, man, I'm looking at both of them like, all right, well, I mean, we're gonna yeet here. I mean, I don't know, man, but I would like one more crack at Gunther, and I really feel like I can beat Gunther. Yeet.
Jay, once again, congratulations.
Man, hold on, man.
on
Appreciate
your
it. What
win.
else, Saxon, though? that baby blue and Osama's here. She been here since all our daddies. Hey, yo, appreciate it, though, man. Appreciate it, all y'all. Yeets. Love, thank y'all.
So Jey Uso is wasting no time in mentioning Gunther right away, the World Heavyweight Championship. Listen, I said to you earlier tonight, I thought he looked excellent on Saturday night's main event right up until the end.
He really did. I think Jay, for people a year ago, maybe was still trying to find his footing as a singles wrestler. He's seasoned now. It has been another year since last year. He's grown. He's ready for that spot, and I'm excited to see him main event WrestleMania.
And Peter, let's get into the bigger story, the career arc of Jey Uso for a moment. Now, in the history of WWE, we've had Kofi Mania, we've had movements. He just invoked the Yeet movement. The guy who's the hard worker, who you don't see coming, who just put the time in, was the locker room guy, and all of a sudden, the people get behind him, and you get nights like this.
Yeah, it sounds familiar, and it was another guy who had a Y movement. The yes movement with Daniel Bryan, right? It certainly comes to mind. We remember that great moment. You think about your former partner, Kofi Kingston, and how organically Kofi Mania happened. And you mentioned, Tess, the organic love for him, the Yeet, the Oos, the way that dude talks on television, that is who he is 24/7, 365. His charisma is just so natural. It's incredible, man.
There's a lot to devour here when it comes to this men's Royal Rumble. I'll throw a name out, though, because there were moments with Jacob Fatu that just stole the show, my man.
Come on now. Jacob's incredible. Future world champion. Jacob Fatu is must-see TV. Anytime this man is on my screen, I am tuned in. And I said that before they let him talk. Now they gave him a mic, and he's like, yada mean.
Yada mean on TV?
I live in the Bay now, and I love it. He's bringing out that Bay Area slang. That man is incredible. Seeing him, what I love about the Rumble 2 is we got so many glimpses of possible feuds. We're not done with the Braun stuff. You know he's coming back to Braun, seeing him in there with Braun Strowman and Braun Breaker. There's so many heavy hitters, so many potential dream matches for a guy like Jacob Fatu, and seeing the way that the fans have picked up, seeing the way the fans have embraced a guy like Jacob Fatu, that guy is a monster. He is a true monster.
And can I just say, we got to mention John Cena for a moment.
We are. Let's get right into it. He came in at number 23.
And I have to tell you guys, when John Cena came out and I saw him say, last time is now, and held up the towel.
You got emotional. I saw it on you.
Guys, in 2004 or 5, I had been out of WWE for many years. And I one day heard the theme song with the MOP. And I went, who's this guy using hip hop? And I turned around, and it was John Cena. And I never tell this story, but like, that is the reason this whole thing became my life again. And how many people here fell back in love with WWE because of John Cena? And it's an epic 20-year run. And to see him right now say, that was the last time we're ever seeing him run to the ring at a Rumble. It was incredibly emotional.
Big E, there was a stretch that started with Cena's entry at 23, that went to CM Punk, and of course the pop you always get with Punk, right through Rollins at 25, where there wasn't a lot of action, and it didn't matter because the This Is Awesome chant was rocking this place.
And look, Drew was in the ring.
Yes.
AJ Styles was in the That's 6 former world champions. This men's Rumble, I think in my entire time, the last 15 years I've been with the company, this is probably my favorite men's Rumble match. It was stacked from top to bottom. Someone needs to check on iShowSpeed. Is that man still alive? How are his internals? I'm worried about him because that was the spear of a lifetime for Braun Breaker.
By the way, props to iShowSpeed. He showed up as a celeb guest.
He got wrecked.
And was about as entertaining in 90 seconds as you could be. Put his body on the line to get in the Royal Rumble.
Let's stick the conversation with Cena here because this was obviously one of the headlines coming back. The farewell tour is now underway. The action was impressive at times, and then it went out to the apron where we didn't know how this thing was going to finish up on the apron. He went for the AA, got the push, and in the end, he's the runner-up. How do you grade out Cena's evening?
He had a great night, a great showing. I think more than anything, just getting the love from the fans, just getting that opportunity to say goodbye his way, the right way. But to see him in the final two, you know, we were all talking at the desk. Is it going to be Jay? Is it going to be Cena? We were really split. I feel like a lot of us, we were really pushing for Jay. But seeing Cena become the 17-time world champion to stand atop that mountain alone is something that I think a lot of fans would like to see. But obviously, we're all very, very excited, and our heart is warm to see Jey Uso win.
And this moment between the two, of course, the respect, that's what it's all about, right? And that's one of the reasons John Cena has come back to WWE. So awesome, man.
Came down to Logan Paul, John Cena, and Jey Uso. And now here is the living legend, the farewell tour, John Cena.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for showing up. In these things, usually I field all questions and go way too long. I would like to do something different tonight. I'd like to play a little game. It's called Who Can Get the Headline Out Fast Enough? So I'll be fielding no questions and trying to do my best to make a statement moving forward. In the 23 years I've been in this business, I know there are different perspectives about my path, but my truth is I've never used my opportunities for a spot that I haven't earned. Tonight was special for many reasons, but it has begun to sink in that it was my last Royal Rumble. And at Las Vegas, in looking at the sign when it was down to 2, and I had a moment to let the energy sink in, I realized that Las Vegas is my last WrestleMania. The last time I main evented a WrestleMania was 2013. That's a long time ago. The reason that hasn't been at the forefront in my mind, I've been a gimmick, I've been the first match, I've been in the middle, I've shared beers with the fans. Because my truth, my perspective is I've always done what's best for business. Tonight, standing in that ring, I wanted this experience to be a tour of goodwill. I've openly admitted I don't know how much I have left in the tank, and I just wanted to do something that would be nice for all of us to get together and have a good time. Unfortunately tonight, it dawned on me that that's not best for business. What is best for business is I main event WrestleMania. And what is best for business is, for the first time, I confidently say that I'm going to win a 17th championship. So I'm announcing tonight that I will compete in the Elimination Chamber. And I'm saying that because after 23 years of loyal service to this company, I feel that opportunity is earned. And yes, I'm flying back to Hungary to film a movie, so what I'm going to do is give my 5 other opponents 1 month to slander my name and bolster their self-confidence the best that I can. I told Toronto when I announced my retirement that I was grateful for the city and I would be back. And I would be back to kick ass. It is time to walk that talk and be who I say I am. I am going to the Elimination Chamber to win. And I'm going to main event my final appearance in WrestleMania and win a 17th championship, because that's what's best for business. And I say that because it is not best for my ego. It is not best for my business. I have built my existence here off of hard work, loyalty to this company, and respect for all of its branches. I will win 17 not for me. I will win 17 to someday shake the hand of the person who wins 18. Thank you very much.
That is as strong and as compelling a post-show press conference comment as you will ever hear. If you want to understand the very essence of purpose and dedication and professionalism, look no further than what you just saw out of John Cena.
So, first of all, I speak, I think, for all fans when I say I'm so glad to hear John Cena saying, I'm tired of having these gimmick spots at WrestleMania, an unannounced match. He does deserve to be in the main event at WrestleMania. And also, we already heard Jey Uso sort of being hungry about Gunther. Are we able to fantasize about a world where we get John Cena and Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania?
Hey, listen, he says that's the target, Big E. He says, he's
gonna win the Chamber.
WrestleMania. Now, Elimination Chamber, want to remind everybody, he's coming your way March 1st from Toronto at the Rogers Center. That's the big stadium, the Rogers Center, where the Blue Jays play. That's March 1st in Toronto, right here on Peacock. Where do you think Cena is right now in terms of acquitting himself and delivering on what he just stated?
He's ready. He's ready. Obviously, he's out filming a movie. We all know about this. He's going to be abroad for a little bit. But I see someone who's dialed in. You know, I think about a year ago or so, I thought we were going to see a Cena who was ready to just come in, have a little bit of fun, and dip out. But seeing this fire, seeing this focus, seeing, you know, his fans, this is what his fans want. They don't want the Cena who's just happy to be here and I want to make other guys look good. No, they want to see the Cena who is ready to go out on top. And I love this version of him. It is so exciting to think the match with Cody, I think, is fire. But look, the other participants in that Elimination Chamber match are not going to go out quietly.
No.
They're going to have a lot of things to say about that. I cannot wait for March 1st in Canada.
I just remember a time, and I don't know if everyone here remembers this. There was a time in WWE when a lot of us got sick of John Cena winning. All the guy did was win. You're like, is John Cena ever going to lose? I think I speak for everyone now when I say we want to see John Cena win the big one more time. And he can't do that unless he wins the Chamber in Toronto, and that is a tall task, Joe Tess.
So we've covered everything with Jey Uso. We've covered everything John Cena. We've mentioned Fatu. We got to get into quickly Seth, Roman, and Punk, and that sequence that took place and what happened outside the ring, Big E.
Oh, it was juicy. It was juicy. That Seth and Punk, that is a fire that I don't know if it will ever be extinguished. I love the passion, that hatred. That face-off, you know, seeing Punk, seeing Roman, seeing Seth, those three, we wondered, is it a possible triple threat? Like, where is this going? There's so many different avenues and lanes for that to go. And that's what I love about this season. We are officially on the road to WrestleMania, and I want to see how all the pieces come together. I'm so excited to see it all.
I've never seen you get this excited.
A lot to undo from the Men's Royal Rumble. Jey Uso is your winner on a wonderful night here in Indianapolis. Tonight's Royal Rumble press conference is powered by Metrics, Big 100 protein bars, hunger for more. What a night here at Lucas Oil Stadium, including what we saw with the WWE Tag Team Championship on the line. DIY retaining against Motor City Machine Guns, but in the end, the Street Profits coming away making big headlines with both their interference in the match and then their beatdown afterwards.
Yeah, that was a new look for Montez and Angelo.
It was.
A new attitude, which I think, Big E, a lot of people have been waiting for.
Yes.
They want to see the Street Profits go to that next level.
They are far too talented to be guys who just, you know, are on TV every now and then. I have been waiting to see the ascension of those two, the work they put in. Look, I'm good friends with both those guys. I saw Dawkins backstage. He told me he had just had meniscus surgery 2 weeks ago. This man is open and honest with me, but that was not the version that Angelo Dawkins, I did not see him on TV. That's a version I don't know, but I'm excited to see where this goes.
And meanwhile, the action that we had in the 2 out of 3 falls was sensational. The skull and bones by Motor City Machine Gun as they worked their way back into this match. That was the second fall. Of course, it came down to the end, and that is where this is exactly what happened with Angelo Dawkins, with hitting him with the crutch. The next thing you know, meet in the middle, and all of a sudden, Gargano and Ciampa retain. They are still the WWE Tag Team Champions.
This match was such a nice meat in the sandwich of this Royal Rumble card.
It was.
We had these 2 incredible Rumbles, and then in the middle, this incredible wrestling matches that you get right there. 2 out of 3 falls between 2 tag teams who can simply just go in the Machine Guns and DIY.
Yeah, so much technical ability there too. But what I love with the Street Profits, that statement was, we're coming for everybody. We're coming for all of y'all.
Sensational night. Again, Jey Uso, we heard him moments ago, calling out Gunther, Charlotte Flair, very emotional. And then what we just heard from John Cena in what is yet another record-breaking evening for WWE. The architect of it all is our Chief Content Officer, Paul Triple H Levesque, and newly minted, soon-to-be Hall of Famer.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. All of you witnessed what I thought was a spectacular event tonight. Before we get started on that, I just wanted to thank everybody here from Indiana Sports Corp, everyone from Lucas Oil Stadium, my friend Patrick Talty, who was instrumental in us coming here. Want to thank Tyrese Halliburton for being instrumental in us coming here, and also Pat McAfee, who I will talk about some more in a moment. Everybody here in Indianapolis could not be better partners. I know I say that a lot, but this is just a spectacular partnership here. This truly was a takeover of the city. When you flew in, it's all you saw. When you landed, it's all you saw. When you were walking through the airports, there were places to make signs if you were coming to the event. Just WWE was everywhere in this city. You could feel it with the people walking around. You could feel it everywhere we went. So thank you to everybody here for being such gracious hosts and allowing us to come in and do what we do for you. Tonight was the highest grossing Rumble in history. But more than that, it was the 3rd largest gate in WWE history, and for a single night event, it was the largest gate WWE has ever done. We had 70,347 people in attendance here tonight. Just incredible in every other way. The only event that has beaten this tonight is last year's WrestleMania 40. The Sunday night and the Saturday night, but other than that, this has beaten every record we ever had. We had people here from all 50 states and 48 countries from around the world. That's a lot of people coming into this city. So I hope we delivered back on that partnership that I spoke about earlier to this city and to the people here, and did the best we could for them. We also, while we were here tonight, the numbers are still coming in, but we already know we set records for merchandise, for sponsorship, and the early read on viewing, both domestically and internationally, is incredibly strong. So we're really, really excited about tonight. I mentioned him earlier, but let me talk about Pat McAfee for a second. Pat, I know in many ways this is Pat's city. As we went out to dinner the other night, it felt like Pat's city. Pat's an incredible part of this WWE family. Just, he's a complete original. You know, from the moment I met him, one of the first things I ever said to Pat when he came to one of our shows was, he said, you got any advice on how I do this with you guys? And I said, just be you. And luckily he listened, because Pat is a very unique person who gives us just him every week. I feel like when I listen to him on air, it's like I just want to feel like he's a buddy that I just want to sit on the couch and watch WWE with. You know, it's comfortable, and he's a wonderful addition to what we do. So happy and so glad that he's here. Him being a part of the kickoff, being part of SmackDown, being part of the Rumble, having our talent on his show across ESPN, CM Punk, Stephanie McMahon, just everybody being a part of what we do. Pat is such an integral part of who we are as a brand now and what we do. I can't say enough good stuff about him, so thank you, Pat. Additionally, before we talk about the show, it's been a big week of announcements. We announced this week WWE Evolve will launch on Tubi on Wednesday, March 5th. That will be a show that I'm excited about. It in many ways for me seems like going back to the very beginning of NXT when nobody knew who anybody was, and it was just a bunch of young kids trying to find their way to get in the business. And that's what we're going to go back to with that show. Evolve will showcase a lot of the talent off our WWE ID program, and it will feature talent that are training in the Performance Center now, where we have, roughly anywhere from 100, 120 talent training there at all times. Some of them are just getting started, and this is a way for them to sort of cut their teeth and get that experience of live crowds and doing live television or doing television, and really break in. And hopefully all of you will get to know them as they move up the line and, eventually down the line, make it to NXT, make it to Raw, to SmackDown, to WrestleMania, and become the stars of the future. We also announced somebody who I know fairly well is Stephanie's Places. It is with Omaha Productions coming to ESPN Plus this spring. Steph is, for anybody that's ever met her, an incredibly insightful person interview-wise. She loves people and she loves to talk to them, and she's incredibly good at it to the point where, as we've been taping these, majority of the people that I've seen after her do the interviews were like, dude, she made me cry. I never cry. So it's, having seen the early cuts, it's going to be an incredible show. So very excited about that. Let's talk about tonight, the Rumble, two incredible winners. Charlotte Flair coming back. I think the last time she was in a Rumble was 23. Coming back after the majority of the last couple of years off with injuries and issues with that, coming back, making a statement here tonight. People say a lot of things about Charlotte Flair, which she is saying are all true. One thing you have to say is she is absolutely one of the greatest of all time, especially, and I say that, one of the greatest of all times. I'm not talking about the women's division. I'm not talking about, any division in particular. I'm just saying one of the greatest of all time. She's exceptional in that ring, exceptional with what she does, puts her heart, body, and soul into this business, and it shows in what she does. So very excited for her to come back. And then Jey Uso, who's had a hell of a ride over the last few years, seen as, maybe an indistinguishable part of a tag team from his brother. People said that was all he was ever going to be. The bloodline showed us a different side of Jey Uso and Jimmy as well. But a time for him to step into his own light, and I think he showed that tonight. The men's Rumble, the women's Rumble as well, but was electric. That final closing moment between John and Jay was incredible. Cody KO was just two guys that honestly just don't really like each other and put themselves through hell, but was incredible. And, Cody continues to prove his toughness and his durability and his, I think his versatility as WWE champion, and Kevin Owens continues over and over to show why he is one of the absolute best, not only of this generation, but ever to do this. Incredible talent. So my hat's off to both of them. Tag championship match was incredible. I think that division is heating up. When you start talking about DIY, Motor City Machine Guns, Street Profits, Garza's, Pretty Deadly, it's quite a group, and that tag team division is heating up. Can't wait to see what the next few months brings. A lot of surprises tonight. A lot of people making returns and having moments. But I think the thing that was on display most to me was not only how robust our locker room is right now and how big it is right now, but how bright the future is. When you saw that women's rumble and you saw some of the names that were in there, Julia, Stephanie Vakir, Roxanne Perez, Jada Parker, just Lash. That's the future, and that future is incredibly bright. So spectacular night, I thought, across the board. Incredible show. Talent all seemed fairly healthy. Couple of question marks out there. Also, my hats off to my hats off to iShow Speed. I sort of felt bad. Only sort of. I don't know I've ever seen a human being get hit that hard. But yeah, he's game. And my hat's off to him. I respect it. I don't know how many people, if I said there's a possibility that Braun Breaker might hit the ropes and just spear you in the middle of that ring, I don't know how many people would say, like, yeah, let's do it. And he has won. So my hat's off to him. I thought he loves the business, and he loves being around it. And I think he's great for it. So I know he wants to do some more things down the line, and we'll be happy to have him here. Before I open it up to questions, I just wanted to talk about one thing, and that is I was standing in the back listening to John Cena talk about his passion for this business, talk about how he sees the business, that he has always done what is right and best for business, and he has. John is one of the greatest performers to ever do this, but an even better person and businessman. And that's a rarity, to have all those gifts and attributes. It dawned on me tonight when he walked into gorilla position, before he walked out there, that it's the last time I'll see John at a Royal Rumble. He said it here tonight. I was back there trying to hold my emotions together as he talked about it. I was there when he very first started. I'm here when he's getting to the end, but now the clock is ticking. And each time we see John, it's one of the last times we see him in this ring. So for everybody that is out there watching, like, cherish this next year, this run that John Cena is doing. The last time we just checked a box of the last time John Cena is in a Royal Rumble. Cherish it. If he's in your town, he really truly means this. This is not it's an opportunity, and I know he talked about the Elimination Chamber, but it's an opportunity for everybody to get together that has seen him over the years do what he does better than anybody else. And there's one more time that he will come, hopefully, to where you are, pass through town, and he would like to see you. He would like to be able to get in there, do what he does as a thank you to you for being a part of his career for all these years. And that's how he sees it, as a partnership with fans that supported him. And yeah, it's coming down to the wire and down to the end. But the one thing that I wanted to say about it is, because at the end of the day, it's my decision. John has absolutely 1,000% earned the right to call the shot. So if he wants to be in the Elimination Chamber, he does not need to qualify. He does not need to ask. He does not need to say anything more to me than what he said right before he walked out here, which is, I want to be in the Elimination Chamber. So he is going to now put everything he has into paying back for everybody that watched him by becoming champion one more time. Not for him, not because he needs it to seal his legacy, not because he needs it to prove who John Cena is, but because he wants to give it back to everybody that watched him for all these years. With that kind of motivation, I find it hard to believe that John will fail. So he will be at the Elimination Chamber in Toronto. Hopefully everybody will be there to enjoy that with him, and we will be onward. But just keep in mind that clock is ticking one match at a time. So let's get to some questions.
We'll start off on the left-hand side, third row.
Hey, Paul, Daniel from Us Weekly here. You talk about your emotions. You've had a bit of time now to digest the Hall of Fame announcement. You and Stephanie both seemed very surprised by the whole thing. Yeah. In retrospect now, what can you tell us about how it all came together?
Well, we do these town halls, and it's to inform and make sure everybody's on the same page with our employees at the office and everything else. Nick and I had talked about the Hall of Fame many times, and he would always bring up the fact that, when are we going to put you in? And I would say, not now, because no matter how I do it, it looks like I'm putting myself in the Hall of Fame. And I'm just not going to do that. So he would say, well, we have to do it eventually. And I would say, okay, well, if we have to do it eventually, let's wait 3, 4, 5 years, and then we'll talk about it. He said, okay, we had an entirely different plan for Hall of Fame. And we got to the end of the town hall, and Sean's music hit. I thought, honestly, that being lazy, I didn't read the end of the town hall run sheet, and there was more after the Q&A that I just didn't see, and was thinking like, oh, Sean's going to come out here and talk about the new show we're doing, LFG, and put that over. So I was confused enough when Sean came out. When Taker came out, it doubled. And then I saw Nick walk to the other side of the room, and that's when that's the first time I realized, like, this is like somehow going to affect me. I wasn't sure, positively, negatively, or humorously. I wasn't sure what was going to happen until Taker said WrestleMania. I'll be honest, we did it with DX. It was a lot of fun. It's different when it's you. And while I've been a part of all of these, and I've seen some talent see it as the biggest honor, I've seen other talent be like, whatever. But for the most part, our talent all see it as sort of the ultimate pay of respect to you and your career. And I've had the honor of calling a lot of people to tell them, we're going to induct you in the Hall of Fame, or be there in person to say to them, we're going to induct you into the Hall of Fame, and watch them cry and watch them get emotional because of our passion for what we do. It hit me way harder than I thought it would. So, when we left there, it was a kind of an oddly comical and surreal moment, and then Taker was there and Sean was there, and we went straight upstairs and went into a meeting and everything else. And as it slowly started to dawn on me, I thought, like here we go. The same moment that I watched everybody else have, that emotions all flooding over you of your career, the people you've worked with, what it meant to you, the fans that you've met around the world, the moments that you've been able to create and share. Fortunately for me, I'm not like out of the business. I have the maybe almost more enjoyable point in my life of being able to watch all these guys do it now and help them get there and put it all together. But it was emotional, and I'm excited for it. I wish it wasn't at WrestleMania so I could focus on it more. one of the most meaningful things in my career, and to have it come from Sean, to have it come from Taker, the two guys in the business that I probably respect more than anybody, and to have that have been a setup from Nick, which on one hand, is mildly irritating, but because he fooled me. But in business, for me, outside of the in-ring, there's nobody that I respect more, nobody, than him. He's my partner in all this. So him doing that for me was incredibly meaningful.
Hey, Paul. Reggie from Indie Sports Daily.
Hey, Reggie.
Hi. Last summer, you guys announced the partnership with Indiana Sports Corps, bringing Rumble, SummerSlam, and WrestleMania to Indianapolis. We're officially at the beginning of that being underway.
Yes.
This week was the first event. I have not seen a level of excitement from fans in this city with anything except maybe the Super Bowl, and this might have surpassed it. Indianapolis has done so much to get fans ready for the Royal Rumble. What stands out to you guys about how the first event has gone so far?
Well, you know what they say is like the Super Bowl is the WrestleMania of the NFL. I'm glad to hear that. Here's what I will say. What I said before, this has been spectacular. Our time here has been incredible. I have been to very few places that I've ever experienced the buzz that was in town here. I got in Thursday, and it just was incredible. I can promise you this. If you are here, if this was the trip that you wanted to take, we have a few more events coming up, as you mentioned. We very rarely do anything where we don't surpass the last thing we did. This was an incredible event. I'm not sure how, but I promise you when we get here for the next one, it will be better than this one. And when we get here for WrestleMania, we will blow all this out of the water, right? You haven't seen anything yet. And that's the one thing that I keep trying to reinforce with everybody on these teams, whether it's backstage, whether it's crew, whether it's the talent, anybody else. We have spent 24 shattering records. We are shattering those records now in 25. We're just getting started. We're just getting started on Netflix. We're just getting started on USA. We're just getting started on all the shows we do. We're just getting started in the rest of the world, and we're just getting started here in Indianapolis. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Right side, front row.
Emily May, congratulations, incredible evening. So I wanted to round back. We're heading towards Elimination Chamber next. Charlotte won tonight, Jey Uso won, and again, John Cena declared that he wants to be a part of Elimination Chamber and wants to compete as part of his farewell tour. So as the creative head, how are you looking towards this journey to the road to WrestleMania, and what are those ramifications from tonight?
I feel that, like right now in this time frame, it's one of the things that has been done very well. It's impossible, I feel like, to call what's next. So I don't think there are a lot of people thinking Jey Uso was going to win tonight. I think there are some people that thought Charlotte Flair might come in and win this tonight, but I think there was a lot of, there are also a lot of people that could have won this tonight, and people would have been very happy with that win for wherever they took it. When you look at the women's now, that field is still deep. Io, Bianca, Bayley, we still have returns to come. We still have, after tonight, people that have arrived here. You've got dark horses like Trish or Nikki Bella or Alexa Bliss being back, or right, that field is thick, and you could say, man, they could really pull the trigger on a lot of these things to get there. Look at the men's. Like just look at that last 10 people that were there, and that's taking people that were in the beginning out, but Roman, Seth, Punk, I know a lot of people don't like it, but Logan Paul, the amount of people that you can put out there now to say they could main event WrestleMania either against Cody Rhodes or against Gunther, that could main event on the other side against Rhea Ripley. Against Tiffany Stratton, sorry. That field is so thick that I feel like this is a really special time. So when you get to the Elimination Chamber, really tough to call. Really tough to call both sides of it. And that to me is exciting. I think sometimes predictable can be good, right? Sometimes you know something is going to happen, you're excited for it to happen, and it happens, and it's the best thing ever. Other times you really want to come into this with that, like, man, I'm not sure where they're going to go with it. And contrary to everybody going out there and saying, online or whatever, this is where they're going. I know. I talked to a dude to another dude that talked to a dude that said he knew this. I can tell you none of them know. None of them know. So it's exciting time, and I'm really, really the momentum that we have right now, the Netflix, the Saturday night's main event, into the Rumble tonight, and we today just put us on the road to WrestleMania, like when it usually right now starts to get exciting. That's an incredible feeling for everybody here. I think it's an incredible feeling for our staff, our crew, for the talent. I've never seen our talent as fired up as I do right now. So exciting time, and I can't wait to see where it all takes us.
And final question.
Hi, Hunter. Adam Bernard from Screen Rant. How are
Adam.
you? So you're a big numbers guy. Have you seen a statistical impact on WWE's engagement since getting major digital players like Kai Cenat and iShowSpeed involved?
Yeah, I think, look, it's something that has always been a huge part of WWE. I just think that the folks now that are the needle movers for eyeballs in the world have changed. You can make an argument that some movie stars, they don't move the needle, Some musicians, like we have musicians come in and don't necessarily move the needle. Some do. You start talking about like Travis Scott and Bunny and people like that just bring incredible eyeballs onto WWE. Bring in people like iShowSpeed or Kai, like they're incredibly popular outside of our world. A lot of their fans are our fans, but outside of our world, and being able to bring those people into what we do. What is unique to me about this time frame is there's nothing happening where we're going to people and saying like, hey, would you like to do this with us? We feel like it could be a good thing for us and for you. These are people that are just coming in as fans now. It's almost to the point where when we go to Atlanta, there's so many musicians and artists and people that want to be a part of the show. So many comedians that come in, as you saw in Texas a few weeks ago. So many, influencers off social media are just attaching to what we do, and it's great. Our talent, our fans are fans of theirs, and vice versa. These are people that grew up watching. Some of them WWE, the Attitude Era, and now they just want to be a part of it. Or they grew up, for some of them, they're growing up right now and watching it in the moment. But we're in the place of a moment in time where we are just resonating across all forms of entertainment, and people are watching us. And that's not just here, that's globally. So it's very cool for us to have every place that we go to, people calling us and saying, hey, can I come by? Hey, can I be on the show? Hey, can I hit somebody with a chair? Hey, can I jump off top rope? Until they get here and realize they don't want to. Not very many of them are saying, hey, can I get speared by Braun Breaker? Let me just say that. And I don't think anybody will be asking for that in the future. But it's an incredible time. And yes, definitely, it helps our engagement as it helps theirs, right? I think I just heard a little bit ago that, Speed was streaming live. He had like a few million people watch that in like a very, very short period of time, right? So the numbers are incredible for him, for us. He's an incredible talent. You see what he's doing around the world, but he has a massive following. We have a massive following. You put that together, it's incredible momentum. So for everybody. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you all for being here tonight. We'll see you down the road, and look forward to the next one. It's a road to WrestleMania, so let's go.
It is the road to WrestleMania. We are just 77 days away from WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas, and that master chef has grabbed some incredible ingredients, and it's already starting to boil. And by the way, the last question asking about engagement with these influencers, this isn't even TikTok. I just turned to Instagram alone, and just the clip, the single clip with iShowSpeed that he put out right now, 9,421 comments alone, just comments, 745,000 likes just on Instagram alone. Obviously 29.1 million followers on IG, not even TikTok, for iShowSpeed. Now, gonna get to the 5 count in just a moment. Couple things that Triple H said. Highest grossing Royal Rumble, largest gate for a single night, and the ascension continues every single time out with these PLEs topping the one before.
Well, we talked about this earlier. There's just so many things right now that make this product so hot. I mean, we had these star-studded Rumble matches. Again, you could argue that men's Rumble match is the most star-studded we've ever seen. And then again, you have the great wrestling in the middle, and plus just big stars like Cody Rhodes who are going to put on crazy matches. And you said it. I mean, I don't need to kiss up to the boss anymore. What Triple H has been doing is revolutionary, frankly, to wrestling. It's been amazing.
All right, let's get right to it. Big E, this was an outrageous night of action, of moments, of magic in the ring, of superstars. Let's give your 5 count, Big E.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Big E's 5 count, where I document my 5 top performers of the night in no particular order. First, we have to go with Charlotte Flair. We have Jordynne Grace, Cody Rhodes, Jacob Fatu, Jey Uso. I'm gonna start with Charlotte. So Jay-Z once rapped, "The ruler's back, the queen is your Royal Rumble match winner." For Jordynne Grace, Big Mama Pump is a tank and shows that strength. And she's a very bright future here in WWE. For Cody, there's a quote from Half Baked that comes to mind. The doctor said, "I need a backiotomy." I didn't think you'd go there. And I think Cody might be in need of a backiotomy, but he is still indeed your WWE champion. As far as Jacob Fatu, bruh, he's just the goods. He's just the goods. I don't know what else to say. Yeah. And last but not least, I am proud of my man Jey Uso, like I birthed him myself, like he came out of my womb. I am proud of that man because he is indeed your Royal Rumble match winner. And that, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, is Big E's 5 count.
That was good.
Thank you. Main event, Jey Uso. Now WrestleMania main event, Jey Uso. He is your winner of the men's Royal Rumble. And Peter, I'll turn to you because, listen, you have non-winners that come out winners on nights like this. So among those who didn't win, who was the biggest winner?
I think for me it has to be Roxanne Perez. How do you not come away talking about Roxanne? Of course, she's been making a name for herself in NXT for a while now. An incredible story going all the way back to when she started with Booker T at Reality of Wrestling. She's done incredible stuff the last few years. But to set a record, 1 hour and 7 minutes in the Women's Rumble, and then make it down to the final couple of people, just an unbelievable performance. She is elevated. Roxanne Perez is now at another level because of tonight's Rumble match.
Good that you mentioned Booker T and the work that he's done in the mentorship there. And by the way, Shawn Michaels, you were a big winner tonight as well. With the younger women coming up into the Women's Royal Rumble, the future in that division is spectacular because of the work that Shawn Michaels is doing down at NXT. What a night here at Lucas Oil Stadium. Remember, next time out, it's going to be Elimination Chamber in Toronto. And you heard what John Cena had to say about that. He is going for number 17. A special night when Cody Rhodes was able to defend his championship. When Jey Uso was able to take the men's Royal Rumble. Charlotte Flair was also pointing to that WrestleMania sign. And DIY retains their WWE Tag Team Championship. That does it from right here in Indianapolis, Indiana. A spectacular night of Royal Rumble. The road to WrestleMania is underway. Charlotte and Jey are going to main event. We will see you next time. Thanks for being with us.
This has been a special presentation of WWE. For over 70 years, the global leader in sports and entertainment.
You are
Talking live at a sold-out Lucas Oil Stadium. Careers will be taken to a new level, and the road to WrestleMania begins.
Thank you for making this the biggest Rumble in history.
2 out of 3 falls. DIY is up 1 fall. Machine Gun have tied things up.
The Profits help DIY.
Wait a minute.
The following is the Women's Royal Rumble match.
Alexa Bliss is back.
The Queen. Cody Rhodes is the champion. Kevin Owens is the challenger. You have to climb a ladder, retrieve the championship to become the champion. They are determined on punishing each other. Pile driver. Kevin Owens turned inside out. Cody Rhodes back into the ring. Cody Rhodes wins.
Well, one of the most sickening matches we have ever witnessed.
The following is the Men's Royal Rumble match.
Speed is in the Rumble. Jey Uso is going to WrestleMania.